What's up guys, Alec Torelli. Welcome back to an episode of the Hand of the Day. Pumped for this one. It's interesting hand, 6 spot from my reader Alvin, who sends me an awesome hand. Look, if you guys want more analysis that I don't have time to go into in these videos, really some strategy that I only share with my subscribers at Conscious Poker, check out the link below. It's the best, free advice I could give you guys on how to hand read better. It's called the hand reading system. Basically everything I put together for how to put your opponents on a range, how to understand how to balance your range, how to use game theory versus exploitative play to figure out what's the best way to play your hands. If you ever struggle with how do I put my opponent on a hand, or this guy's too loose and he plays crazy, I don't know how to think about what to put him on, or how do I make better decisions against my opponents, I put together this free hand reading system that you guys could download to really help you guys take your game to the next level. Highly encourage you guys to check that out, totally free at the link below, and let me know your thoughts on it. Thank you for your support, much love, appreciate it. Let's jump back into this hand. 2-4 blinds, playing a cash game. We open in 3rd position with ace-10 off, which I think is a little bit too loose. If I'm playing a 9-handed cash game and I have ace-10 off in 3rd position, I'm probably gonna fold unless 2 things are going for me. One is that the big blind's a massive fish and I could play the pot heads up against him, and that's contingent on thing number 2, which is that everybody else at the table plays very tight and straightforward. They're never gonna 3-bet me. They're probably not gonna call that often in position, so that I'm likely to play this hand heads up in position myself against the big blind. If I'm playing at a table where people are really loose, they're aggressive, they're not folding post-flop, they're 3-betting a lot pre-flop, I'm not gonna open this hand. As played, we opened to 20, which is a 5x open. I think that's fine playing smaller stakes where people are prone to call a lot of bets pre-flop. You're gonna generally wanna open bigger. As played, we get seat 3 calls, the button calls, the small blind calls, the big blind calls, and we go 5 ways to the flop. The flop comes down ace, jack 4 with jack 4 spades. Great flop for us. Top pair, backdoor straight draw, backdoor flush draw, got stuff going. And here we have 2 options. We could check for pot control and balance, or we could go out and bet. I think my inclination here is to bet because there's so many hands that have equity against us that we can either get value from or deny or charge draws for, that I'm just inclined to bet here. I'm probably gonna bet 65-70 and put an ace in a tough spot, a jack in a tough spot, and really charge for draws. We don't really wanna bet 35-40 here and have 2 people call or people float and not really know where we're at. I think I'm just gonna bet bigger here, especially because when I bet this flop, my range is gonna be stronger. I'm not gonna be bluffing a ton, so I don't really need to bet small on a board like this. If the board was less wet, like ace deuce deuce, sure, you could bet a 1/3 of the pot here. But 5 ways with these many draws, I'm gonna bet a little bit bigger. As played, we bet 45, and it gets folded around to the big blind, who calls. We go heads up to the turn. The turn comes an 8 of spades, the big blind checks, and here I think we have a clear check behind. We want to check because in case he has a float, like king 10 or queen 10, or decides to turn a jack into a bluff on the river, we want to have a hand that could justify calling. We also don't want to bet and get check raised, and if a spade comes, we can bet for value. So here this is a clear check behind. We keep our opponent's bluffs in the hand, and we don't really get value from that much by betting. We're not going to get value from ace 5 for 3 streets. So we have to check 1 street. I think we have a clear check behind here, basically hoping to improve on the river, possibly calling a bet and picking off a bluff as well. The river comes to 10 of spades, and now our opponent bets 80. We have a clear raise here, and we opt to raise to 225, hoping to get value from maybe something like king 10 with a spade, queen 10 with a spade, or something like king jack with a spade, or something like that. I think we could get value from a lot of hands here. Very clear raise. The question is how big. I think going small makes a lot of sense, because if we want to get called by the queen of spades or the king of spades, we can't go too big. We have to give our opponent a good price. Also, making a smaller bet keeps our range wider, and it gives us a better price on our bluffs if we were bluffing as well. So I like going 225, which is what the hero Alvin in the hand did. I would go 225 if I was bluffing. I would go 225 for value with an ace of spades. So I think it's a really good sizing that allows us to get called by worse. Things get interesting when our opponent all in jams this river, and now we're basically in a spot where suddenly we were going for value, but now things changed and now we're bluff catching. So in a spot like this, it's first important to realize that we only beat a bluff. Our opponent's never jamming for value with the king of spades. So that's the first thing to keep in mind, is that you don't beat anything unless your opponent is bluffing. So once you put that frame of mind into perspective, you have to say, okay, what price am I getting? And how often do I need to be right in order to justify calling? So we're in a spot on this river where we're basically getting 2-1, which means we need to be right about 1/3 of the time. It's not exact, but it's close enough. Now, the only hands that we're beat by are straight flushes. So we're beat by Queen 9 of spades and 9-7 of spades. Now, there's 2 combos of hands that beat us. So if we could find one bluff combo that our opponent could have, we're gonna be right 1 out of 3 times. So we basically need our opponent to be bluffing any percentage of the time in order for us to justify calling. So that's really the game. That's what you have to ask yourself. Is my opponent capable of bluffing here? Some people straight up are never, ever, ever gonna bluff here, in which case you can fold. If your opponent is capable of bluffing, and he should only really be bluffing with the 9 of spades as a blocker, if he ever is capable of turning like the 9 of spades into a bluff, which there aren't that many combos, because how can he have the 9 of spades without having Queen 9 or 9-7? He'd have to have King 9 and turn it into a bluff. It's pretty tough. So it's like a spot where if your opponent is ever bluffing, from a mathematical standpoint, you should call. But at the same time, he shouldn't really ever be bluffing. So I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like you have a very easy call or a very easy fold. It's a very tough spot. It's a spot you're not gonna face that often. If you called here for the rest of your life, it probably wouldn't be that bad of a play. But at the same time, you might be able to make an exploitative fold against some opponents that you're playing that simply just aren't capable of bluffing. In reality, if I'm playing in this spot in a live poker game, I'm going to use real-time reads. I feel like in a spot like this, if my opponent makes a straight flush and he's 3-betting the river, he's probably going to give something away. You're probably going to have a gut instinct about whether or not your opponent has a straight flush. And honestly, this is a spot where a lot of people feel like I know I should fold, but I can't fold because I have to call. That's a little bit of nonsense. I feel like if you really believe your opponent's got it, and you really know that your opponent's never gonna bluff you, I'm okay with making a fold here, even at the cost of being wrong. I actually enjoy making big folds in a spot like this, and if I really feel like my opponent's got it, I'm not gonna be afraid to make this fold here, and that's it. So honestly, I know I'm being a little wishy-washy here in a spot like this, but in reality, you're going to use live reads, you're going to use what you know about your opponent, your history, and the game flow to really make a big decision like this. It's not a spot where I can just say, you know, this is what you should do all of the time. The math is simple though. If you're getting 2-1, your opponent has 2 value combos, he needs to be bluffing with 1 combo for you to break even. I hope that makes sense. He needs to be bluffing at least 1 out of 3 times. So if your opponent's ever bluffing here, you should call. If not, you should fold. That's sort of how I like to think about these situations. If you'd like more information about how to solve these situations, how to hand read, how to put your opponents on a hand range, and how to keep your range balanced to make yourself harder to play against, outplay your competition, and win more money, click the link below. It's absolutely free to download our hand reading system at Conscious Poker. I really think it'll help you take your game to the next level. It's helped thousands of people as well, and it's gotten a lot of positive feedback. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have hands you'd like me to review, you could send them to me as well. Appreciate all your questions, comments, and feedback. You guys are awesome and epic. Much love to everybody out there watching. Thank you for your attention, and I'll see you guys next time on the Hand of the Day. Cheers.